This was down.
Welcome into an early edition of the Desmond Johnson Show here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, tobaccoroadsportsradio.com. Desmond Johnson in the house with a special Super Bowl 60 panel. Of course, winning the division's been holding this slot down the past couple of weeks. Ryan Smith and former NFL tight end Ben Troupe in the house from the Keep Pounding Podcast Network, powered by the Fans First Sports Network. And old friend Ed Smith, also a former NFL tight end, who also hosts the Believe in Cards podcast over on the Believe Podcast Network, join us as well. So we've got NFL folks up in here. We've got NFL minds up in here. Let's try to figure out what's going to happen on Sunday during the Super Bowl. Guys, I didn't even realize, I was joking about it the other day. I was telling people, did you watch the Pro Bowl? Did you watch the Pro Bowl? Didn't even realize the Pro Bowl was last night. They did the Pro Bowl last night on ESPN. Like the Pro Bowl is just completely falling off a cliff. So we'll get into everything you need to know for Super Bowl 60, and we'll get these guys' opinions on who's going to win Super Bowl 60 here on the Desmond Johnson Show. Let's go ahead and roll that intro.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
Yeah, welcome to the Carolinas. Everywhere you go, the sky is Carolina blue, the finest. Live action, feedback, the city need that. I've been number one, no cap. Here's the recap. Adrenaline is my addiction. I'm about to relapse. Step on the turf if you won't and get your weed whacked. I'm going harder than a martyr on the starter end. It's the heart of man, that's a rap like a cardigan. I'm breaking records, it's 4th and inches, I count the seconds. The over-under's my roar of thunder, my secret weapon. Yeah, the game is to be told. I don't break, I break modes. Follow me on Tobacco Road.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
And welcome into the Desmond Johnson Show here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Make sure you rate and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's fast growing, youtube.com/at Tobacco Road Sports Radio. This is normally our Friday show, but I decided with both Super Bowl 60 and North Carolina Duke going on the same weekend, instead of doing an extra edition of Carolina Duke previews, just go over and check out Believe in Hills Hoops. It's me, former Hills Hooper PJ Hairston, and six-man of Hills Hoops B-Dot. Go check that out on the Believe Podcast Network, and the video is sitting on Tobacco Road Sports Radio's YouTube channel right now, and we will get you right for Carolina Duke, 6:30 tip-off on ESPN. Again, in the house, we've got Believe host Ed Smith. We've got Ben Troupe and Ryan Smith from the Keep Pounding Podcast Network. We're going to dive right into Super Bowl 60. And guys, I want to know, in terms of these two teams, Seattle and New England, I was joking with Jonathan Stewart earlier in the week when we were doing Believe in Panthers about how we kind of had seen both these teams all year, pretty much at the top of their conferences, but we kind of had, I don't want to say we overlooked them, but it felt like we were looking for somebody else instead of these two to be in the Super Bowl. And I want to let you kick this off since you're new to the panel here. How surprised are you that Seattle and New England actually made the Super Bowl? And out of these two, looking at the franchises, which do you think would be more likely to return to the Super Bowl in following years?
More surprised regarding New England. I think they're ahead of schedule for the most part. You know, as far as Seattle, I don't think people gave them enough credit all through the year, and I was one of them. I kept waiting for them to fall off the cliff. You know, you had Sam Darnold. We know how he plays in some of the bigger games. But as they continued on through the season, I got more and more confidence in them, especially the way their defense was playing. As far as New England, I just thought, you know, first year there, Vrabel, he's going to get things right as far as the culture. But they've got a lot of holes to fill. They got a second-year quarterback. There's no way they're going to make that run. And then you looked at their schedule, and I think that was part of, an advantage because they did play a last-place schedule. And, but my theory is you got to beat who's on the schedule in order for, to get that record. So it was that old saying, you are what your record says you are. They ended up running the table, doing what they needed to do. They're there now. But like I said, that would be my bigger surprise. As far as who would get back there, man, Seattle, I would say Seattle, but that doggone division is so out here. The Cardinals, their biggest problem is they're in this division, and they'll be scraping the bottom of the barrel for a long time. Between San Fran, if they stay healthy, Seattle, and the Rams, I mean, this is going to be a bloodbath out here every year. So that's the only downfall to Seattle being out here on the West Coast.
And that's my thing, too, as we bring in Ryan and Ben from winning the division. Seattle came out of the toughest division in the NFL this year, in terms of everybody in there competing and making the playoffs except for Arizona. It feels like I don't know if this is going to be in a game where Sam Darnold might be able to write his ticket to stay someplace for a period of time, but it feels like Sam Darnold might fit home in Seattle. But then again, we said this last year in Minnesota. Do you feel like this game will be the game that Seattle decides whether or not they're going to sign Sam Darnold long term, or is that ship already sailed and they're going to sign Sam Darnold to a much longer contract after this year? I can't remember the terms of the deal he signed when he came to Seattle this year. Ryan, do you have details on that? Do you remember what the deal was for Sam Darnold? And do you think that this is a make or break type Super Bowl game for him to stay longer?
I do not have the details in front of me, but I do think they are going to sign him to a long-term extension, regardless of whether they win or lose the Super Bowl. Look at it this way. You've already seen the Minnesota Vikings essentially tell their now ex-general manager, Kwesi there that, you were fired because your drafts were not that good. And Sam Darnold, there was a weekly reminder every week that this quarterback was in your building. You let him go to another franchise, and he's in the Super Bowl. And I think Sam Darnold has already shown that he's not seeing ghosts anymore. Desmond, those 2 games against the Rams, well, third if you count the playoffs, Sam Darnold was sensational against the Rams. Matthew Stafford going blow for blow with Matthew Stafford. And this is January football now. This is not September football, October. Okay, maybe start of December. No, this is January NFC Championship game. It helps that Seattle did host the game, yes. But Sam Darnold has definitely rectified himself and has shown the ability to be a franchise quarterback in Seattle. And I think win or lose this Super Bowl, which I think I don't think they're going to lose, but win or lose, I think Sam Darnold will sign a long-term extension in Seattle. I could see like a 3-year deal, something along those lines, something like what a Baker Mayfield or Daniel Jones got initially.
I can see that. And Sam's kind of in that same kind of class and was that the same year? Did they all get drafted the same year? Was that 2020? Yeah. So Mayfield, Darnold, all those guys all got drafted around.
Josh Allen. Yeah.
Josh Allen. Yeah. So that's a really good quarterback class looking back at it in hindsight now. Ben, let's look at the other side, the New England Patriots. Again, like Ed said, here kind of early. That was my opinion too. They're a couple years earlier than people expected them to be. Talk about the fact that we probably should mention this, and I probably should let the show off with this. Bill Belichick not making the Hall of Fame first ballot. We found out yesterday that Patriots owner Robert Kraft is not going to make the Hall of Fame first ballot either. This man, all he's done is take his team to 11 Super Bowls as the owner, won 6 of them. Basically, his franchise has gone to the Super Bowl like once every 3 years or something that he's owned them, which is a nutty stat. Talk about the Patriots and what they've been able to do. Now, this will be the third quarterback coach combination underneath Robert Kraft that will make the Super Bowl. In terms of Bill Parcells, Drew Bledsoe, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and now Mike Vrabel and Drake May. Talk about the Patriots and the quote-unquote Patriot way. Maybe it wasn't just a Belichick thing. Maybe it was a Robert Kraft thing. And your thoughts on Robert Kraft not getting to the Hall of Fame first ballot too. And we'll put that question to everybody after Ben.
The Robert Kraft situation not getting to the Hall of Fame doesn't surprise me, because when you give beat writers this much power and you act like these people don't have, you start saying things like, well, I don't like the way he ran the organization. I don't like the way Deflategate didn't give them, a way much more scrutiny. And let's face it, Ed, Desmond, Ryan, people don't like winners for real. That's just what people say. They do not like it for real, especially if it's not your team. Let's call it what it is. I mean, they up there where the evil empire is. You got the Boston Celtics. You either like them or you don't. You got the New England Patriots. You either like them or you don't. But winning is winning, and culture is a real thing. And Vrabel, that's how he got his start. I mean, I think he got the most touchdowns, I believe, like as a defensive player. I think all his catches are touchdowns. Every last catch he ever had was a TD. I'm not surprised, especially with Belichick as well. People are petty. And somebody says, I can't get him now. But when it comes time for him to get in, if I get to be the reason why he don't get in, I'd rather that be my legacy. Because people thought they don't want to be beat writers. They want to have a Hall of Fame vote, which that might be something we have to revisit. As far as like the Patriot way, it's the Vrabel way. Vrabel did this in Tennessee. He just didn't have a quarterback, and he had Derrick Henry, but he also had Marcus Mariota. Drake May is a guy that understands how to go out there and win games. And Vrabel knew this. Vrabel said, I need one thing to get back. I need Josh McDaniels. Because in their heyday, that's who it was. And when you got two guys who understand each other like that, you see why the New England Patriots are doing what they're doing. I try to stay away from the ahead of schedule stuff only because the only teams that are ahead of schedule are teams that don't win a lot. Those are the teams that are ahead. Teams that won a lot and they had a couple of down years. I mean, people kept saying, was it Belichick? Was it Brady? I think it's a mixture of both. But I just think that Robert Kraft lets his coaches coach. He don't interfere. Like, look, I trust these guys that I hire, my presidents, general managers, and so far so good. I mean, Vrabel can do no wrong right now. Now he got to finish the deal because the Willie McGinnises of the world don't like the fact that people are saying that had we cheated, we would have won 8 in a row. Well, sir, you did cheat. I mean, it was investigated. They just burnt the tapes, which I don't even know how you don't show the big. We're gonna burn them. I'm not gonna show what they did. We're just gonna let you know that they did it. But it's the Patriots. They're back, and I think for the NFL, you don't want them to get on the run. If you hated what Kansas City did and what we thought Philly was gonna do, you don't want, because they're doing it with guys like Clavon Chason, who people ain't talking about him enough. They're not doing it with a number one a big-time receiving core. They're doing it with a rookie running back, a second-year quarterback, and a first-year head coach. Yeah, you don't want them to get on the run because they'll be around for a long time.
Ed, I want to ask you as a former NFL player too, and you guys could chime in on this. Going back to the Robert Kraft not getting in first ballot Hall of Fame and Bill Belichick not getting in first ballot Hall of Fame, both of which are pretty shocking. You kind of now have to turn your head towards former Patriot quarterback Tom Brady, which would be, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but are they going to do the same thing with Tom Brady and not make him a first ballot Hall of Famer? Because out of all the people I can think of that played professional football, I think Tom Brady checks all the boxes off for first ballot Hall of Famer, right? So is this a precedent that they're trying to set, like in terms of, we know what you did, there's nothing we can do about it except for this, and just make sure you're not a first ballot Hall of Famer because we know you benefited from these things, Spygate, Deflategate, all these other things or whatever. Never mind the fact that Brady has 7 rings, one without the Patriots, and every record imaginable as a quarterback. Is this a situation where I think he's got a couple more years now before he's eligible. Is this a situation where we're talking about this with Tom Brady not being a first ballot Hall of Famer because of what we just saw over the past week with Kraft and Belichick?
Well, as Ben stated, I mean, you talk about pettiness. This is to not have Kraft and Belichick first ballot unanimous decisions, and then to even have to think about a Tom Brady. It's ridiculous. And I don't understand how you can have a league and the voting. I don't know, would you blame it on the voting system? Do you blame it on the voters themselves? I blame it on all of the above because, and to answer your question directly, Des, there's absolutely no way you cannot keep Tom Brady out of the Hall of Fame on his first, time being eligible. And as far as, Kraft and Belichick, like I said, it's a joke. Moving forward, there should never be a coach or an owner that goes on their first opportunity, because if those two didn't for their respective titles, then nobody else ever should. And like I said, as far as Tom, I mean, if you think about it, they shouldn't even wait 5 years for Tom. They should just go ahead and do it now.
A lot of
like you said, he owns every record. He's got 7 Super Bowls, went to 10 or however. I mean, I went to 1, and I'm like, Ben, I mean, could you imagine going to that many doggone? The one I was in, I still get chills every time that man won 7 of them. Been to 10, man, it's ridiculous.
And how many years did Brady play? How many years did Brady play?
I think he played like 20. He played 20 something years, I think.
Close to 20, yeah. And he won 7.
22. Yeah.
So
I think at a certain point in the AFC, the only AFC representation in the Super Bowl was Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Joe Flacco. That's it. And Ben Roethlisberger. It was 4 guys.
I think I saw a stat that this year, this is the first year in I think 15 or 18 years that the AFC quarterback will not be Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes, or Ben Roethlisberger.
That's crazy. That's
nuts. So to sit here and even have this discussion of, is Tom your first Hall of Fame? I don't care for Tom Brady, but I recognize
it's outdated. It's just saying we have certain things in sports that are outdated, and the thing about it is these beat writers, that's way too much power. That is way too. Why can't former Hall of Famers vote for future Hall of Famers? Why can't they do it like that?
That would make more sense to me. Yeah, if you're getting into the club. Yeah, if you get into the club, you might as well let the club members vote in who's getting into the club, right? So, I mean, that would make the most sense to me that If anybody would know who a Hall of Famer is, it'd be a Hall of Fame player. Like, you know, and who I think it was Bill Parcells that said this once. And I always use this argument whenever people talk about like Cam Newton and when his name is going to come up here for consideration here soon. Luke Kuechly will find out, I think, tomorrow whether or not he gets into this Hall of Fame, and he should be a first ballot. Well, I don't think this is his first ballot, is it? Is it right?
It was not last year. It was. He's
definitely getting in this year there because he should have been in last year. But Parcells said something once I've always stuck with, where he was like, if you were ever the best player in the NFL for a season, like won an MVP, won a Super Bowl MVP, whatever it was, then that should be your auto ticket into the Hall of Fame. If you were ever in any part of your career, he's like, I don't care if you played 5 years or 15 years, but if there was ever a period in your career where you were the best player at your position in the game, undisputed, everyone knew it, that should be your Hall of Fame ticket. And for someone like Cam Newton, his 2015 MVP season should write his ticket to get into the Hall of Fame. But again, to Ben's point, there's politics and the way that people get in. Cam might not get in, which will be crazy. Going back to Super Bowl 60, though, Ryan, I want to start with you. Who do you think is the number one player that's got to show up for Seattle for them to win? Because you were saying you're leaning towards Seattle to win this football game, and they are favored by 4.5 points. Last time I checked over on FanDuel. Who are you looking at on the Seattle roster outside of Sam Darnold that you think needs to make a huge impact in this game?
Yeah, so I'm going to go off the beaten path. The defense is something that I'm not worried about at all. You said I can't choose Sam Darnold. And JSN just always gets open. So I'm going to go with Rashid Shaheed. And I'm not talking about at receiver. I'm talking about at special teams. I think the wide receiver, his special teams ability for the Seahawks has been added value for them since coming over from New Orleans at the trade deadline. The Seahawks have been superb with this special teams this postseason, and I think they're going to have an opportunity for some big plays against this New England special teams during this game. And I think if they can break one open for a touchdown, or even if it's just good returns and consistent returns to lead to better field position, I think that's going to go a long way in giving them shortened drives and allowing them to steal a possession or two. And the chances of winning this game. I'm going to go with Seattle Seahawks special teams, specifically Rashid Shaheed.
It's funny too, because I've been seeing Shaheed's name attached to us and the Panthers, Ryan, as a free agent target in the offseason.
That's not happening.
I know, but that would be great if it was, because he checks the boxes of stuff we need. We need help on special teams. We need a wide receiver on the edge that can take the top off the back of a defense, so you can let Tet work in the middle or wherever he's going to be. Because I don't think it's going to end up being XL being that guy. So we'll keep an eye on that too, because Dan Morgan's going to start, turn on the lights in the kitchen and start cooking here in a couple of weeks. So we'll see what the Panthers are going to do in the offseason. Ben, let's take the other side, the New England Patriots side. Take away Drake May. What's the number one, or who's the number one player you're looking at on that side that needs to show up on Sunday for the Patriots to win?
I mentioned him earlier, Clavon Chason. I think he's been playing the best on his Patriots team, and Chason is real similar to like a Sam Darnold, a guy that got drafted in the first round, didn't really work out at who drafted him. It kind of been a journeyman. He goes over to the Patriots, and he's playing his best football in the postseason. I think he had 7.5 sacks. You go back and you watch every game the Patriots have played. He is living in the backfield. He was terrorizing that team, that opposing team's right tackle, and he's playing really, really good football at the right time. I mean, I think for a guy like him, I don't think he'll ever be a superstar, but the world will be watching him. And you look at what he can do. He can disrupt an entire offensive line. He can disrupt an offensive game plan. So for me, I mean, the easy one is Christian Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez versus JSN will be must-see TV, but I'm going to be looking at Clavon Chason, the journeyman, who I think has found his niche with the Patriots.
When a division host Ben Troupe and Ryan Smith in the house, along with Ed Smith from the Believe Podcast Networks, as we preview Super Bowl 60 coming up Sunday on NBC and Peacock, if I'm not mistaken. They'll have that game for you Sunday afternoon. Ryan, were you about to say something?
I was going to say, the other thing that I don't think is being talked about enough, Desmond, is this coaching matchup. Vrabel has been there as a player. He's obviously going to be there as a coach now. They say Vrabel probably has the edge there because he's been to Super Bowls as a player and now as a coach, but Mike McDonald is a heck of a football coach, has been on both staffs of John and Jim Harbaugh, and is someone that he knows what his identity is there in Seattle, and they just take your soul out of you when they play your football team, and they want to destroy you. Physicality on both sides of the ball, and this coaching matchup is going to be fascinating to watch on both sides of the ball. But I think Mike McDonald, honestly, has not gotten enough credit for what he's done with the Seahawks team this year. I know he's not going to win Coach of the Year, but I very well think he should be up in consideration for it.
Oh, that was actually kind of going into what I was about to ask Ed. As a former NFL tight end, the two coaches in this matchup, Mike McDonald and Mike Vrabel, who would you rather play for? And I'll ask Ben that same question too, being a former NFL player. Out of these two and what you've seen this year, would you rather play for Mike McDonald in Seattle? Or would you rather play for Mike Vrabel and the Patriots?
With all due respect to what's going on out there in Seattle, because I love what they're absolutely love what they're doing. Vrabel is one of those guys, man, that at the end of the day, you watch what he did in Tennessee, and then you see these stories how he brought the team together. And it's not just about football. He literally cares about every guy on that roster, from the first guy to the last guy. And that means a lot to a player. I played for a couple of head coaches that didn't even know my name, I don't think. And, they'd walk by you in the stretching lines and they talk to their favorite dude right next to you. And, walk past you like you were invisible. Then I played for Dan Reeves, who, he made me feel like I was as special as the first guy on the roster. And those are the dudes that you will go out and literally run through, if you had to, run through a brick wall for them. And that's what I think, that's what they could have that in Seattle. They more likely do. But I'm just seeing that especially from Vrabel. And, man, I'm telling you, there's nothing a guy won't do or put himself through or get that extra study in because you don't want to disappoint that man. And, I would have loved to play for someone like him, which I did, in my opinion, in a Coach Dan Reeves. But I'm telling you, man, both coaches have done an outstanding job. I give the edge over there to Vrabel.
Let me get Ben in on that, and then I'll get all three of your predictions for the Super Bowl before I get you guys out of here on this Wednesday. Ben, same question to you. As a former NFL player, would you rather play for Mike McDonald in Seattle and what they got going on there in that offense, or would you rather play for Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots, a former player?
My sentiments are real similar to Ed. I respect what Coach McDonald's doing, but a guy that's done it, who understands, like, he can speak to where you are right now. Like, man, I know how you feeling. I know what you're dealing with. And head coaches don't understand the importance of building rapport and, with your players. I don't got to be the star, but if you make me feel like a star, that's all. I'm not a quarterback. And tight end we recently got to this. It's the glamour position. It recently got to this, to where guys want to be tight ends in high school, right? I didn't even know what a tight end was when they asked me to become a tight end. I got real tall. They said, go down with the tight ends. I'm like, you talking to me? Yeah, that's a position. And I will say, yeah, I would love to play for a guy like Coach Vrabel, because I don't think Coach Vrabel is afraid to let you know who he really is. Most coaches, they're going to keep it real buttoned up. They're not going to – I think he's a very, very open, vulnerable dude. Like, look, man, if I show you me, man, you got to show me you, because I'm going to talk to that part of you when you out there. That's how you get – I keep saying this, man. The New England Patriots, they are the what is it called? The Island of Misfit Toys. There's a bunch of them. That's them. And they ain't pretty, right? But they get it done. And when you respect your head coach, you play for a different reason. And I think they respect that dude. There are plenty of guys in the league, they playing for a check. They don't. And I think for Vrabel, he's saying, look, if I want these dudes, the goal of a coach is to get you to do things you don't want to do, but do it like you do want to do it. That's a coach. And I think he does that. But Mike McDonald is a silent assassin, man. This right here is two really, really good choices, but I got to pick Vrabel because Vrabel just understands where your body is at, where your mind is at, what you're feeling in the moment. And when you can speak to that, man, yeah, I would love to play for a guy like that.
All right, so we're going to get predictions. Super Bowl 60, Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots live from Santa Clara, California. 6:30 kickoff on NBC and Peacock on Sunday. Of course, there's like an 8-hour pregame show that'll be on before that if you've got nothing else to do on Sunday. Let's start it off with the predictions. Ryan Smith, what do you think here? Because again, Seattle and New England both played Carolina this year, so I've seen them both, and those are actually two of the more thorough butt whoopings that Carolina received this year. It was a tighter game in the Seattle game. It was tight at halftime, and then Seattle pulled away in the second half. The New England game was one of the games, them in Buffalo, where it was just like, oh, this is a much better team than we are today. Like, there's not much we could have did differently in this matchup. Two well-coached teams. Who you got in this game? Like, give me a score, give me an idea of the vibe of this game. How do you see this thing unfolding, and who do you got winning Super Bowl 60?
I'll do you one better. I'll also give you an MVP as well. I got 27-20 Seattle getting it done in Super Bowl 60 there in Santa Clara. And give me JSN as the MVP of the game.
You said who was it for you?
Jackson Smith and Jigma, JSN.
Oh, okay. So you got Seattle winning it, and you've got Jackson Smith and Jigma winning the MVP. So you got a wide receiver winning MVP of the Super Bowl.
Correct. And you said to give you a vibe. So I would say I think it's going to be a close game early at halftime. Let's say, I don't know, 13-10 or something. And then Seattle goes on a little bit of a run in the second half and pulls away, and then a late field goal or late touchdown by New England kind of makes it a touchdown or, a one-score game, if you will. And it still ends up being a one-score game at the very end. But it's a close game in the first half. In the second half, kind of Seattle shows their dominance in football play.
Okay, so Ben, your thoughts? Seattle, New England, Super Bowl 60. Give me a vibe, give me a score, and since Ryan set the precedent, give me your prediction for MVP.
I mean, I definitely think the vibe is going to be serious. I think both of these teams, Mike Vrabel has a type team that they don't go quietly into the night. That's not in their contract. We ain't going to just go away. You're going to have to beat those dudes, but I think that Seattle, they don't have a lot of weaknesses. What did Michael Irvin say? I'm gonna use your strength to beat you. I'm gonna use your weakness to break you. I think that's how Seattle plays. They're gonna play to your strength, but they're gonna use your weakness to break you. I'm gonna go different. I'm gonna go with Ernest Jones, start middle linebacker for Seattle to be my MVP, because he's gonna have to play smart football game, because he's gonna be battling those with. I mean, the mind of Ernest Jones versus the mind of Josh McDaniels. But I think I'm gonna go with a defensive guy. We've been talking about Sam Darnold, JSN, and Kenneth Walker all year, but Leonard Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence and Ernest Jones and those guys, they have kept those guys afloat. Give me that, and I'm biased. Give me that country boy from Ware County. Give me Ernest Jones as my defensive MVP of the Super Bowl.
Who did you say for the MVP again?
Ernest Jones.
Ernest Jones. Okay. And
Ed? You have a score, Ben?
Patriots, Seahawks. Give me a vibe. Give me a score. Give me an MVP.
I ain't give a score.
You need a score.
Yeah, give me 28-24 Seattle.
Ooh, okay. So we got 2 votes for Seattle here. Again, Seattle 4.5-point favorites going into this matchup. Ed, who you got? Patriots, Seahawks. Give me a vibe, give me a score, and give me a MVP.
The vibe is going to be nervousness to start out. Neither team has a whole bunch of experience as far as this game on it. So, and until you're in it, you don't. I mean, you can talk about all you want. All of a sudden, you get out there and the national anthem, and your heart coming out your chest. And man, I'm telling you, it's going to be a nervous start, a little choppy in the beginning. I think both teams right around the halftime kind of get their legs underneath them. I do see Seattle coming out on top on this one. I see Sam Darnold as my MVP because he's going to be the darling. Everybody's going to want to love on him. As long as he doesn't go rogue and bad Sam Darnold, as long as he can stay away from that, I think they always want to push the trophy toward the quarterback. Final score, 27-22. Somebody's going to go for 2 or something like that late and make it one of those funky scores. But yeah, I do see Seattle winning this one. And I think it's going to, like I said, it's going to be choppy earlier, and then there's going to be some excitement down the stretch. Because as Ben said, you're not just going to run the Patriots off the spot. They're going to fight to the bitter end, but I do think Seattle wins it in a close one, and we get that cover by a half point at the end.
I can't believe I'm about to do this, but I don't want to be that panel where we all pick the same thing, and I was already kind of leaning this way anyway. All 3 of you picked Seattle. I'm leaning towards the Patriots, my arch enemies, the bane of my existence, New England Patriots. I'm going to pick them to win Super Bowl 60, and I'm going to pick them to win it in the most Patriot game way possible in terms of tight game, all 4 quarters, comes down to a field goal, run off the clock, walk-off win, Patriots. It's the Patriots way. It's the Patriots script. I'm going to give it 24-21 vibe. That's what I'm looking at. I think the both defenses will pop up here in this game early. To Ed's point, there's going to be some nerves first quarter. I think second quarter will start to open up a little bit. To me, it's going to come down to which quarterback messes up first. Is the old Sam Darnold going to see ghosts on the biggest stage he's ever been on? Or will Drake May, who's only been in the NFL for like 20 games or so, will he show his age and on this stage too? The last time that Drake May was at a Super Bowl was Super Bowl 50 as a 13-year-old watching Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers against the Denver Broncos. They're in the same building in Santa Clara that Super Bowl took place in. So I'm going to go with Drake May and the Patriots and Mike Vrabel. I like what they're doing. I hate the fact that I like the Patriots to a certain extent because of what they're doing, even though the ones that I didn't like they were there before are no longer with the team other than Robert Kraft. So I'm picking Patriots. I'm going to pick them on a walk-off field goal to win it. 24-21 is the score I've got. Patriots winning Super Bowl 60 and winning their 7th ring as a franchise, which would break the record they have tied with the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken, and they would be in sole possession of first in terms of most rings for a franchise. So we'll see if we're all crazy or if one of us is right. Sunday, Super Bowl 60, 6:30 p.m. NBC and Peacock. The Patriots taking on the Seahawks. No show on Friday, so if you're looking for a UNC Duke preview, go look up Believe in Heels Hoops. It's on Tobacco Road Sports Radio's YouTube channel and the Believe Podcast Network's audio channel. Myself, PJ Harrison, former Heels Hooper, and Heels Six fan B-Dot in the house. We'll give you everything you need to know, all the rivalry stuff, best rivalries. PJ goes a little bit behind the scenes and talks about actually being a player in the Carolina Duke game and what that feels like. It's a really good episode. Go check that out right now, and that'll be in place of our Friday show for here. So I won't be back with you until Tuesday of next week. David Glenn joining me from the North Carolina Sports Network. We'll be going through the fallout of Super Bowl 60 and the rest of this weekend. Shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who apparently traded for James Harden last night, and I didn't even realize until we got on here this morning. So James Harden is now a Cleveland Cavalier. So Darius Garland going back the other way to the Clippers. Trade deadline is Thursday. If something weird happens or if the Hornets do something, we might pop up with a quick episode on Friday to talk about it. But until then, follow the socials. We'll see you guys next week here on the Desmond Johnson Show.